Yeah. Big JTV, man. And now I'm not going to talk about Adam 22. I might actually talk about it later, but in another video, because it's getting really goofy. But let's start this off by a like, man. Slap a like. I was in YouTube jail for a week, but I'm back grinding harder than before. But if you really want to support me, support this channel, y'all check out my Patreon. Also check out my Rumble. I'm going to be a little more active on Rumble. You know what I mean? All the links are in the bio. But the best way to help me out, even above Patreon, is slapping a like. I appreciate that. Like the video. Let's talk about Michael Oher. Man. He's been in the news all week. And I wanted to give this a little bit of time. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to any kind of news, something you got to know about media is that it takes time. Especially things related to courts and lawsuits, right? You can't just hop on something and believe that that's the truth 100% from Jump Street, right? We've seen that with, the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case. We saw that with, I covered that, by the way. We saw that a lot with the Deshaun Watson case. We saw that with the Bill Cosby case. We see that happen actually a lot of times in the law, especially when it comes to court situations. It takes time. So I'm going to read this article off TMZ. I'll link it inside the bio, right? And it talks about the situation. So if you didn't know, it says here, Michael Oher knew the Tuohy family were his legal conservators in 2011, despite claiming in legal docs that he had become aware this February. And there's proof. And the proof is the former NFL star's own book. Oher wrote I Beat the Odds: From Homelessness to the Blind Side and Beyond, a memoir that was released in 2011 and specifically talked about the legal relationship he had with the family. So this, quoting the book, it kind of felt like a formality as I'd been a part of the family for more than a year at that point, since I was already over the age of 18 and considered an adult by the state of Tennessee. Sean and Lee Ann would be named as my legal conservators, or said. Michael continued, they explained to me that it means pretty much the exact same thing as adoptive parents, but that the law was written in a way that took my age into account. Honestly, I didn't care what it was called. I was just happy that no one could argue that we weren't legally what we already knew was real. We were a family. Of course, it seemingly puts a hole in Oher's story. Just this week, he claimed in legal documents filed in Tennessee that he only found out about the conservatorship in early 2023. A move his attorney alleged that Tuohy's pulled to gain total control over Oher's ability to negotiate for or enter any contract. His beef with Sean and Leanne Tuohy centers around the money he claims they earned from the hit movie The Blind Side, of which he says he got nothing. However, the Tuohys issued a statement refuting Oher's claims across the board, forcefully denying they got rich from the film and saying they never misled Michael about the conservatorship. Oher's attorney asked for an accounting of the money the family made through contract negotiations on his behalf in what appears to be a precursor to a lawsuit. It will be interesting to see what happens now that the book has resurfaced, since Oher clearly knew of the conservatorship, right? And as the article, TMZ said they did a podcast about it. Let me say this, right? Here's my analysis of the situation. I think that this is a family beef that lawyers and Michael wanted to get into. I think that, Michael Oher, as you know, he actually has released a new book this past week. And keep in mind, the last time Michael played football was 2019. So he's newly retired, right? He's out of the game. And what happens a lot of times when athletes retire, they're going to pay more attention to their money because they're not receiving the type of money that they received before. And that's due to the NFL having one of the worst unions in sports. The collective bargaining agreements are some of the worst. And what makes it worse is that football is one of the most dangerous sports on this planet. You know what I mean? And they have the worst, contracts and deals for retired players. So what I think happened is that Michael, started paying more attention to the money. Now, do I know if, the Tuohy stole from him? No, but I'm going to guess that yes, there was some version of stealing money from him. Now, what probably happened is that while Michael was playing football, his accountants were not paying attention, or maybe were purposefully ignoring it. His team was not paying attention because he was getting millions from the Baltimore Ravens, the Carolina Panthers. You know what I mean? He was making money. He didn't even have to care. You know what I mean? So I personally think he knew about the conservatorship. I think that happened. I just think that the Tuohys might have finessed some money out of him, especially because The Blind Side is a $300 million movie. Okay, it made a lot of money, bro. And I wouldn't be surprised if The Blind Side is already on streaming services making residual checks. And then Michael probably saw, where's my money? Where is my money? And the way that he was portrayed in the movie was disrespectful. I think that he was finally waking up to this. Now, keep in mind, Michael has recently gotten married. He got married a few years ago, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if his own wife was asking him, hey, man, have you looked at the money? Have you looked at the finances? Now, this does not change that the Tuohys helped him, but ultimately he helped them a lot. Keep in mind, the Tuohys, especially the wife, she has a motivational speaking series, has made books about the situation, right? And monetized from the movie. So there's a lot of money that came out of Michael Oher and got benefited to the Tuohy family, right? And what's been happening in Hollywood, right, is that when it comes to narratives about black people and white people, there's always this white savior complex that gets put around. You know what I mean? And we know what that is. That's to sell tickets. Most of the population is white, so white people don't want to feel or look like they are perpetrators or abusers. They want to feel like they're the heroes. You know what I mean? So that's why The Blind Side worked. The Blind Side was a bunch of BS. Now, the real story, I believe, is about how Michael Oher overcame, and the Tuohys were part of it, but his story was not really given from his perspective. So he got pissed and he got mad and looked at the money and said, hey, what? They're making all this money off me? Let me go and sue them. So, people have even alluded to this, that this was all a shakedown. This was all for Michael to make some money. Let's see what happens, man. I am biased. I'm just going to keep it real. I am. But I believe the truth is in the middle. The Tuohy family is saying, hey, Michael's trying to shake us down for millions. We already gave him money, all these things. Michael's saying, hey, I was a conservator, you know what I mean? And they were making money off me without my knowledge. Let's see what happens. I'm leaning a little bit on Michael's side for the simple fact that they had a conservatorship with this man for 19 plus years. And this week is when they decided to end the conservatorship. Right? I'm telling you right now, there is some fishy-ish going on. And what I want them to do, what I'm going to report on next, is what they find in the discovery process. Namely, what they find out after they look at the books, after they look at the accounting and financing. They need a forensic accountant to look at all the money the Tuohys have made because of Michael Oher and see if Michael is entitled to that. Because I promise you, the Tuohys made a lot of money off this guy. And don't take out the fact that in a lot of high school football and college football circles, there's boosters. And boosters are willing to do anything to get high-ranking recruits to a college or university in the States. I personally believe the truth is that the Tuohys needed Michael Oher to go to Ole Miss, and they were willing to do anything to get him there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were making money off him too. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Michael Oher knew about the conservatorship, but maybe he didn't know about the money getting taken, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. If you made it this far, I'm shocked. But I appreciate y'all, man. Like the video. Let's get it. Big JTV, I'm out.